One of the remarkable things about movies is how they can change over time without even changing. You can watch a film at a certain point in your life and then return to it many years later with it being a completely different experience, and the movie hasn't changed. You've changed. You've grown as a human being, or otherwise had life experiences which have made you appreciate things a different way. I always liked The Shining. Brilliantly shot, wacky performances from Jack Nicholson and Shelly Duvall, and a great atmosphere. Loads of hidden details and theories about different aspects of the film, and the movie provides some outstanding visceral horror. But when you become a father, the movie becomes more poignant and much more scary, but not in the a man in a bear costume kind of way. This is a bit of a personal video, and I will preface this by saying I love my family to bits, but marriage and especially subsequent fatherhood is a huge responsibility, one that no training or counsel can prepare you for. All of a sudden, you are responsible for a human being, you are responsible for life, and all of your goals and desires, including the bond between your wife, which can often become strained when there are difficulties with the children, take a back seat to the upbringing of your child. This is something I think The Shining taps into a lot. The movie. The book is of course very different, with a lot of emphasis on Jack's alcoholism and the abusive upbringing he had. Like with Jack's writer ambitions, I have work I want to get done for my YouTube channel that often gets disturbed by the family. In fact, I've even found myself in situations where the missus might come to me while I'm on my laptop and start talking about the weather, with me thinking, what do you want me to do about it? Just like Jack. I've even been told to go to sleep when I'm working at 2 a.m, replying that I can't because I've got too much to do, just like with what Jack says to Danny. Heck, maybe my YouTube work is an allegory for the overlook, both taking away time and attention from one's family. And then there's situations where, as I mentioned, your relationship with your spouse can become fractured because of events involving your kids. Jack dislocating Danny's arm, for example. The subsequent tensions, frustrations, and cold atmospheres that occur in the spousal relationship and family unit are perfectly captured in the film. Call it projection, but I imagine Jack and Shelly having a loving, carefree marriage and then the much anticipated arrival of the child causing problems. Jack becomes jealous of the attention the new mother shows her child perhaps. Maybe he becomes frustrated with the changes in her and then guilty for having these kind of feelings. He resents her rather than come to terms with his inner demons, begins putting the work into Danny to give them both the best of relationships, but blames his failures to do so on his wife, the easiest of targets, as shown when he tells the caretaker she interferes. Jack's mind is so warped that when his creepy behavior causes Danny to ask him whether he would ever hurt him and his mum, Jack's immediate reaction is to ask Danny if his mother told him this, rather than take a look in the mirror and ask himself, why would my son ask me a question like that? Occasionally, as a father, you just feel like you need a break, a chance to get away from it all. It is unfortunate, selfish and embarrassing to admit, but there are moments where you blissfully daydream about them not being there. I'm not saying you fantasize about chasing your family around the house with an axe, but I think the ghosts in the Overlook take advantage of Jack's insecurities, regrets, guilt and fears of fatherhood. And there is something heavy there in the film that it manages to capture, and I finally realize why The Shining is hailed as one of the greatest psychological horror films of all time. Jack is not a monster that hides in the closet or attacks you in your dreams. He's a real person, a husband and father, the head of the family, the source of security, comfort and stability. For him to change and his mind collapse, to turn on his own family in an isolated hotel in the middle of a storm no less, is a terrifying thought, a bastardization of nature, because ultimately, that could be me, that could be you. Stranger things have happened. Jack is disturbing because at one point he was a completely normal man, but has now gone insane. Pay attention to Jack and you'll notice him biting his lips at things his wife and son say, small gestures of frustration that manage to manifest and creep up to the surface. It resonates even more so what with the COVID-19 lockdown, with families all around the world cooped up with each other in this same house, getting more and more tired of each other and desperate for a chance to just have a break from their own families. So it's quite the experience of watching The Shining through the lens of fatherhood. I'll leave you with a quote from Stephen King, the author of the book, which had many autobiographical elements from King's troubles with alcoholism and his relationship with his family. "I wanted to grab them and hit them. Even though I didn't do it, I felt guilty because of my brutal impulses. I wasn't prepared for the realities of fatherhood." Thanks for watching.